Do you ever question what is possible for you to achieve in your life? Or have you questioned what is possible to happen in our world? Or have you questioned who you are? Those are all the things that we will question and wonder about as we live our life. Every single person does. Years ago, I happened to hear a video from Napoleon Hill, the guy who wrote Think and Grow Rich. And he was relating a story where he was being given a dictionary, and he said he would only accept the dictionary if the word impossible was removed from it, because he didn't want people to think that things were impossible, because he knew what was possible. That was his big book, Think and Grow Rich. But he also wrote another book called Outwitting the Devil. Many people hadn't known of that one, but see, that's where he went into all of his doubts and what went on for him. And the devil was that thing that he was talking to that was causing him to doubt himself. That's what we all do. But everything is possible. And that's the story that I'm going to tell. I'm being flown to Colorado on Thursday, and on Friday, I will be shooting Beyond Belief with George Newry. And this is the story I'm going to tell him, that everything is possible. No matter what you're looking at in your life or what we're seeing in our world, everything is possible. And there is a message I'm going to read to you that will help sort of illustrate this, and then I'll talk a bit more about it, because I know a lot of people are moving through things now. They're thinking, we don't know what's going to happen here, and we don't know. My life is going a little crazy right now, and I don't know what's going on. This message, and I'm going to explain this in order. This message came through on June 5th of 2023. It's June 4th today, 2024, as I'm recording this. And I'm saying that because I receive information from Wilhelm before it actually occurs. And this is also the story I'm going to tell. Everything is possible. It only matters what you believe is possible. That principle is true for you, your life, and your world. As we have said, you are moving through a restructuring, but you are the one who will cause it to turn out in the way you desire by the thoughts you choose to think and hold, and to which you add your energy. You will accomplish your goal when you believe in yourself. The power to create anything is within within you all, as all others. But you can only decide to live the life you want, love who you are, and offer your essence to the world. That is why you are alive. Nothing is happening accidentally. It is why we held our live conversation yesterday after your full moon. We wanted you to take advantage of this time to know everything is possible. As you study our message from 2012, you will be more inclined to believe in yourself. One of the surest ways to accelerate and ensure your continued expansion is to take one of your desires that you have labeled impossible and make it possible. Many times you are not aware that you have been given it that particular label. However, when you discover it, grab hold of it and turn it into possible. Then you have expanded. While all things are possible, you would do well to select one of your desires where you are assured it is possible because you have seen it done or have done portions of it yourself. In this manner, you resolve your resolve will be enhanced, and your success will be inevitable. Wow. Okay. In 2012, that message was saying, what was I supposed to do? What can I show that I have done that I know is possible? And I know what's possible. See, because I lived a life where I've moved through every horrible, difficult, challenging thing, and to come out, and I'm 73 now, and things are going in the other direction. I'm healing. I'm happy. I'm whole. I'm doing all of those things. When you move through an ascension process, you start to heal. And ascension is what we all move through, no matter what you might think about that. But it's just about coming to understand who we are and what potential we have. When we come into the world, we don't know what we're going to become. We don't know what we're going to do. We have to learn all of that. We learn that from the available information that exists in the world. And then there are certain people who will live things and come up with something new, a new philosophy that says, wait a minute, it could be better, it could be different. Because it's not impossible. We could live great lives and we could have a really great world too. And that's what I was given. But believing that took a little bit of time. That's with all of us. We don't know what is possible until we start doing it. And I've gone through and moved through so many things because that was part of my evolutionary path, but I've gone through all of them. So when I see people think, well, I can't do this, it's not possible, I say, you're wrong. You just haven't tried. You just won't believe yourself. And I understand the barrier there because we have this cognitive dissonance, meaning we will hear something and we can go and listen to it forever. We listen to videos and speakers and all of those things, and they're saying who we could become, and they're thinking, saying, you have greatness within you. They'll say all of those things, and we'll just sit and stare at it and thinking that's not possible because I haven't done it. And I couldn't possibly. That's cognitive dissonance. The number of things that I thought were impossible that I have achieved and moved through and done in my life will fill a book, and I will write the book because that's going to be the rest of my journey, rest of my life this time is to write that book because I want people to know what is possible. And so when I go to film the show for George, I'm going to say we could have a much better world if everyone would do this work. And then I had to start to go move beyond my disbelief because I said, wait a minute, I've done this. I've created something that could give any person the ability to own themselves, to know their right place in this world, and to really thrive. And then to have the generations that come later, they'll do the same thing because now these people have learned who they are. When we come into the world, we're limited, and we come in with all kinds of biases and restrictions and ideas that we have learned while we've lived or we've brought in with us in our individual DNA. And so if we don't let go of the lower vibrational things and things we've thought about ourselves that weren't true, because we're all meant to be whole and complete, that's every single human, then we start to have a different world, you see? And so when I discovered that I was given this information that didn't make sense to me, and in 2020, I said, wait a minute, the world is changing. Maybe I'm supposed to do something. My friend from high school, so she sent me a message today on Facebook. She says, well, you found your calling. What is it? I said, I'm going to uplift humanity. And people will say, well, that's not possible. I've already done it. So I know it's possible. It's just a matter of how many will do it. When you start to understand, when we move through an evolutionary change in our world, we are going to go through some difficulties, and that's what's happening now. The reason that 2012 was there was because that was another change in our world. Now, I didn't know that was occurring. I didn't know what was happening because I've been receiving and doing this work since 1988. I have accumulated all of this work, which has turned into a philosophy called, it's a philosophy, your life operating instructions, meaning that we have to operate differently if we want to live the lives we want to have and if we want to have the world or the future that we all want to see, meaning that we have to just let go of our old stuff. So I had to work through all of my hatred of myself and of others. I had to look at that. And then I had to look at, why am I angry all the time? Why am I upset? What was my depression about? All of those things. See, I've moved through all of those. And so this is what I can give to others. And to sit here at this age now and to know, and someone said this too, that gave me a wonderful compliment on YouTube. Thank you so much for that, saying you will leave the world better than you found it. And that has been my entire intention. Since childhood, I just didn't know how it was going to happen. I cannot tell you, there are ideas about why and how I'm being flown to Colorado to talk about this. Because see, I was hiding. We do that too. But then once you start to take the steps into your authentic self, who you're meant to be, doors will open for you that you don't even expect. And I've seen it. We just had that this morning with someone in our group who has been trying to put together something, and all of a sudden this opening, this opportunity came about that she's going to figure out because it's going to keep blossoming. That's for all of us. But the problem is we'll think that it's impossible. And I know that because when I first started talking about my work, almost 4 years ago now, and I'm telling everyone, listen, you can have everything you want. You just have to move through these different things and find your life purpose and all of that. And they say, no, that's not possible. And that's that cognitive dissonance. And then I would do other things. I say, well, it's anybody can afford it. You can absolutely do it. I said, no, it's not possible. That same thing. And I can say this because I didn't think what I was going to do was possible. And I knew it in 2016. You see, that's when I first started. I thought, I know I'm supposed to bring something to the world because it's going to make a difference and all of that. It had to have. How could I have gone through all the stuff that I did in my life and came out so differently and healed? If I could do it, and you hear that all the time, someone saying, if I could do this, anyone can. I'm telling you, it's true. And the only thing that happens, because I've seen this forever too. I've been a coach for more than 35 years, so I do understand. And the only thing that happens with any client I've ever worked with, they just don't believe themselves. That's all. They just don't believe. And it's a process because we evolve in our consciousness over time. It doesn't happen right away, but you have to be willing to do the work. And the work is moving through your barriers, moving through your disbelief, moving through the things that you thought you couldn't do, and becoming willing to own your worth, becoming willing to discover it because everyone has it. And this is what I have put out so much. And I just put a video out from a Wilhelm channeling session that was done a year ago on June 3rd. And it says, discover the perfection of your life. And if you listen to that one, you will get a little bit more of it. See, because when I receive information, it's not readily available because it's coming from a different place. I don't understand it all the time. I have to go back and review it and learn it just like everyone else. We all do the same thing. When we go to school, we take a class, then we graduate, we go to another school, go to another grade, and then we learn more. It's the same thing, but we have to understand, how are we doing that? We're only using our brain. We're using our consciousness. Now we can think about spirituality and all these other things. We don't even have to do that. You just have to know how your brain operates because you're a human being. You have a brain, and we know neuroscience, we know how things change, and we also know programming, meaning that we have discovered now that we come into the world with limitations that are within us. Why do you think there's so many life coaches and all these folks out there doing this, and therapists and everyone else? Because everyone is looking for the same thing. They're trying to figure out who they are. My Wilhelm told me that if people would understand this, everyone's looking for the same thing: acknowledgement, acceptance, and approval. Every single person. But the only way you find it is inside. The only way you find it is by becoming willing to discover who you are. And that is the difficulty that we have within ourselves and within our world, because we don't want to look at those things that are old and dark and all of that. As Carl Jung said, people don't want to look at their shadow work. They don't want to do that. But I'm telling you, I did all of it. And the thing that happens is that you come out happy. This work, what it has done, and people like, how can you be so up and happy after, anyone who knows my story will kind of question that because I've been through everything. But I'm saying that's what is possible. And if nothing else that I'm going to do in my life, well, I've already done it because so many people are already doing it. Now, the only thing that happens is that we stop ourselves. I stopped myself because, see, I haven't finished now, but now the pressure is on because I have to put all of this work. I have so much work that I've done over the years that I could give to people, and that's what I'm doing. See, there are several things that you want. You want to know who you are. You want to know your life purpose, why you were born, what's going to give you the greatest joy, because that's within you. You may have blocked it, but it's in there. And then you're going to want to understand all of your relationships, because those are the things that give your life meaning and all of that. And then you're going to want to know, well, how do I make a career? How do I sustain my life? How can I do something that's productive, that is going to give me a sustainable life? Well, that's all in there as well, because it's within you. And then when you start doing that, then nothing is impossible. And this is a story that I'm going to tell because now I know that it's true. Now, I say this all the time, and I've put out several videos where I said, change is going to happen. Suffering is optional. That means that the energies, the planets, and everything that's going on in our world now are going to keep changing. But you move through it better when you're working on yourself and deciding that it is not impossible for you to become happy, for you to heal, for you to do everything that you wanted to do in your life that you've put away. And I know that one because I put so many things away for a long time. But now a whole new avenue is opening up for me at this age. That's the other thing. I keep talking about my age because I never want people to think, oh, I'm too old to do this. That's never true. And what only thing that starts to happen is that you start to become more confident. You start to love yourself a lot more, and you stop worrying about what everyone else is going to think. And that's the most important thing during this period. See, because I'm going there to talk about the restructuring of our world, this global shift that we're moving through, why everyone is feeling a little uncomfortable and a little afraid of what's going to happen, not understanding that you're the one who's going to change it. You see, when we understand sciences and the energies and everything that's happening, when we start to become our best selves, putting a different energy into the world, then it starts to have a ripple effect and things start to change everywhere. And I know this is true because I've lived it. And I have all these wonderful people that I love so much who are doing the work in my program and are just showing me things that I didn't even know was possible. But I'm grateful for Napoleon Hill because when I first read him many years, 40 years ago, I didn't understand it. I didn't know what he was talking about. And then it all made sense. I'm saying this because that's for all of us. There are no limits to what we can create or do, just only ones that we create in our minds. And you've heard that forever. And I'm telling you, it's true. And in my book, because I'm going to write the book called Your Life Operating Instructions, I've been given that instruction from my guy, and I will write that because I have to document everything. So you people everywhere are not locked into some idea that they can't achieve or create something. I know that it is possible. And that's why that message came through. So, and then earlier, I'm going to give you this because this I'm rebranding everything. It's not up there yet, but I want to show you something that I just wrote. Well, I didn't write it. I had to get some help. I had to get some help from AI. And if you're not doing that, do it because it helps you. It'll help you really quickly to get your ideas organized. Let me share this with you. And it's not done yet, but I'm just going to give you a little piece of it because by the time I get there, everything's going to have to be rebranded. But I just also want to tell the complete story. And it is this. And I got so much help from my chat GPT this morning because I said, let me just tell them the entire thing. Roger embodies a unique synthesis of mystic, sage, and spiritual channel, creating a profound and holistic approach to spirituality and wisdom. As a mystic, Roger seeks direct and experiential knowledge of the divine and the ultimate nature of reality. Through deep meditation and contemplation and prayer, he transcends ordinary perception, connecting intimately with the spiritual realms. These mystical experiences are often ineffable, yet they provide Roger with profound insights and deep sense of unity with the divine in the role of a sage. Roger distills these mystical insights into practical wisdom. He possesses a profound understanding of life, human nature, and moral principles, offering guidance that helps others navigate their spiritual and everyday lives. His wisdom is grounded not only in spiritual experiences, but also in rational thought and ethical behavior, making his advice both insightful and applicable. And that is true. And I'm not going to do all of it, but if you hear people who have talked about this work, you know that that is true. I just want you to understand nothing is impossible. You can achieve and have the life that you want to have, and it's your responsibility to do that because when you do that, we have a much better world. All right, see you soon. Please subscribe to the channel if it's your first time here. Also, I have the Ascension Circle. You can join that and you can look at all of my other work. But just know that you were born for a great reason, especially if you're alive now, you're supposed to do something wonderful. See you soon.